This one has already been used. His blood will not answer. The ones who feed have already taken their share.
Audu MaiKudi walked the dusty street that evening with the weight of another bad day pressing on his shoulders. The plumbing job had dragged on for hours, blocked pipes, shouting clients, promises of full payment that turned into half. His palms still carried the faint stink of sewage and cheap washing soap. In his pocket, just enough naira for one small loaf of bread from Mama Chinedu's roadside stall. The bread was already hardening at the edges, but it would do. Tonight he would eat, sleep, and face tomorrow the same way he always did. He raised a tired hand. A yellow keke slowed and stopped. The driver stayed half hidden in shadow, face turned away. No greeting, no question of destination, just a single nod. Audu climbed in. The engine coughed to life. They turned left where they should have gone right. Audu leaned forward to speak. A cloth clamped over his face, sweet, thick, like overripe incense, laced with something warm and coppery. The world tilted, folded, and went black. When Audu opened his eyes again, he was no longer in the keke. Rope bit deep into his wrists, binding him to the rough trunk of an iroko tree. The bark pressed against his back like cold fingers tracing old scars. The bush around him was thick, air heavy with damp earth, rotting leaves, and that same metallic warmth that turned his stomach. He counted slowly. A young girl, no more than 14, tears carving silent tracks down her cheeks. A pregnant woman swaying gently, hands cradling her belly as if to shield what grew inside. A small boy staring blankly ahead. An elderly man whose lips moved in soundless pleas. 10 souls in all, perhaps 11, each tied to a separate tree, each waiting in the same heavy dark. The drums grew closer, deeper, like a heartbeat rising from the ground itself. Then the priest appeared. Long red wrapper flowing like spilled blood. Cowries rattled on his wrists like tiny bowls. In his right hand, a feather wand, long, pale, plucked from something that once moved in the night sky. He moved methodically from tree to tree. The feather brushed each captive's face. Low incantations spilled from his lips, words that made the leaves shiver, even though no wind touched them. A nod to the masked men lurking just beyond the firelight. Approved. When he reached Audu, time stretched thin. The feather touched Audu's cheek, cold enough to burn. The priest spoke the words again. He paused, repeated the motion. Then, slowly, he shook his head. A small, almost pitying gesture. He spat once between Audu's feet, the sound sharp in the silence. This one has already been used, the priest said, voice calm, edged with dry amusement. His blood will not answer. The ones who feed have already taken their share. One of the masked men stepped forward. The smell of gunpowder clung to his clothes like bad luck. Should we waste him anyway? The priest's smile could be heard even in the dark. Let him go. He is already waste. To kill him now, outside the proper offering, it would spoil everything. Rough hands cut the ropes not carefully. Fists found ribs, back, jaw. Not enough to kill, just enough to mark. They dragged him through the underbrush and flung him onto the laterite path like refuse. As the bush closed behind them, one of the kidnappers laughed a dry, scraping sound. Go on, empty man. Hang yourself if the mood takes you. Even the earth will reject your corpse. Their voices faded. The drums ceased. Only the night pressed in. Audu lay tasting blood and red dust. the loaf of bread long lost, pockets turned out like empty promises. Then, from somewhere deeper than memory, a woman's voice drifted through the silence, soft, familiar, praying, his mother's voice. But the words were wrong, twisted, heavy, like iron links tightening around bone. Audu did not yet understand, but the truth had already begun to uncoil inside him. He had not escaped anything that night. He had simply been returned to what had claimed him long ago.